record. Andrea Fisher, thank you for agreeing to talk to Swim Bike Run Fun and our online tribe. And I would like our guests to know all about you and the Austin Tri Club. Tell us more about yourself and what the Austin Tri Club is.
Oh, well, I don't want to go into I was born in or any of that, but we'll just say.
That might be helpful.
I am we were just discussing, I'm originally from New Jersey. I came to school in 1990 down here at UT because I fell in love with Austin, and Austin was so different at that time, but swam for UT, and I started working in an office for a really great company you all may know. It's called Speedo after I graduated, a little company that makes little bathing suits, but which was my dream job, but I wasn't happy because I was living in a place that had like no sunlight for the majority of the year because I was in a satellite office up in North Michigan and realized that I...
Wait, pause. North Michigan is the place where they make this little bitty swimsuits to be out in the sun all day?
Well, so that's it. They actually make them in LA.
Okay.
But the office I was in North Michigan. And so I quickly realized how much I missed Austin after living there. And I quickly realized after my monthly trips to LA that was not the place I wanted to advance my career. No offense to LA, it just didn't work for me. And so I left my quote dream job and moved back to Austin. And when I got back to Austin, I wanted to reconnect with sports and some activity because I was done swimming and I wasn't working out enough to fulfill my needs. And I started swimming with the Masters team here, and while I was swimming with that Masters team a couple times a week, I met a couple individuals that had qualified for this race in Hawaii called Ironman, and I was like, I think that's that thing crazy people do I see on TV, and sort of followed their journey. I'd done a couple sprints, but I didn't really do anything serious at that point. I was just kind of having fun, and I followed their journey and what they did, and then I watched, of course I got hooked, I watched a broadcast of people crawling to the finish.
Oh, the NBC
one? And pushing their bodies to the limit, and the dramatic music and all of that kind of stuff, and I was like, oh my God, I have to do that. That has to be something I've got to try. So I put my sights on doing a race, and I started connecting with people in town with the original, before the Austin Triathlon Club that was in place at that time. And
but there was one before now?
Yes. And so I quickly connected with that group and immersed myself into what I didn't know and what I was going to learn, and it was amazing. And I set my sights on a race in Florida, and my little naive self took my bike and went out with some friends who in the community were going down. And this is some of the original members of the triathlon community with John Hill, and somewhat famous Michael Lovato was one of the ones that went out with us, and Nancy Hill and Carl Hausman and a bunch of us. We did a couple hotel rooms, and we did this race in Panama City, Florida. And it was a half and had a blast. And my journey in the sport began at that race personally because I kid you not, and I'm not joking, I had no idea I'd won the race until I got to the finish. No idea.
You won a 70.3 on the beaches of Panama City. Did you have on a Speedo?
I actually did. I had a Speedo on, but I was so clueless. And I just went out there and I pushed myself, and I had so much fun. And that first race for me, that first real race for me, was so important because my dad was there too. And my dad had flown down to watch me do this. And it was, my dad's not around anymore. So he passed away from cancer close to almost 20 years ago. But it was just such a great journey. And it was such an amazing event. And I was like, this is my sport. First of all, you go out and you kill yourself and you have a blast doing it, and you get to the finish line and they are like cooking hamburgers and cheeseburgers and there's beer and everybody is just having a blast. And
I love you already, beer at the finish line.
This is my sport. So that's where my journey began. And it's been one heck of a ride since, but yeah.
Wow, so you said a few important things. I want to go back. I want to stay on you for a little bit. You said sprints were fun. I loved hearing that. And then you said it was the first real race. Why was it a real race to you? Or what did you mean by that?
I think it's the first race that I actually, put my sights on that was down the road. And I actually put a process in place to try and get as fit as I could and do the things I needed to for that event. Everything prior to that had been this like, oh, let's go on a bike ride. I want to go run for a mile. There was no process in place. There was no plan. And it was the first time I put, that build up and that plan to execute. And so that I feel is like the first time it was real to me.
And you utilize that group. We like to call them tribes. Some people call them a team. It's really, depending on what age you are, it depends on what word you
and I did. I leaned into what was then the Austin Triathlon Club. I leaned into those individuals, the people that had done things before. Ironically, it was like, I remember it was like when the first gels came out, and so that was all, everyone was like, oh, there's gonna be this great compact thing you can take, and this is when like the first goo came out, and so I was all excited to do an event with a goo and have it in my hand and
official.
Yeah. So, you're talking like prehistoric before. Now everyone's like got their dialed in nutrition drinks and goos and solid, And
now they too much. They have like custom blends. It's just too much.
So I learned I went with a group. I learned from them. I watched, I observed, and then I adapted to myself and, my strengths and yeah.
So how did you, now there's a long bridge and arc between then and the Austin Tri Club. So how did you become involved with the now Austin Tri Club? And for those who I didn't say before, she's the current president of the Austin Tri Club.
So I'll say how I got involved now. I'll jump back to the original. With that club, I really connected. I wanted to start giving back. And so I ran for the board at that time, and I became the communications and marketing director for the Tri Club. And I'll tell you some funny stuff with that. This was back when I used to do a newsletter, and every month we had the newsletter, and people would send in snapshots, like in the mail, snail mail. You mailed in your snapshot, where somebody had some photos from a race, and I would like lay everything out and glue it and lay it down.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
this is 1997, 98.
No, this is 96. Yeah.
Dial up. This is dial up.
94. Yeah. No, this is when everything just became on. Yeah, and so I was like, placing pictures and then I would change the date sometimes because it wouldn't lay out. We were running photocopies, and then I'd have to mail that out. And it was great. So I got really involved with the club back then. And then, evolution of a business cycle, the club tapered off. It went away because a lot of coaching clubs came in place. And so people started gravitating to the different coaching clubs. And that was sort of what took the original Tri Club a little bit down. And there was a lack of energy given back into the clubs, so everyone went to their new clubs, and they had their new clubs and tribes. So a couple of years ago, when Austin Triathlon Club, Daniel resurrected, I want to say, but also recreated the club.
He's the special man that lives in the right place.
And he brought that community back together because I feel like there was something missing. Everybody had gone to their own clubs, but there was this competitiveness, or there was sort of like, there wasn't a connection. There wasn't like a middle ground for everybody to come together neutrally in the middle. You may belong to Club A, you might belong to Club D, and you're competitive with each other, but there was no place for us to just drop our guard and say, hey, we're all together at times.
Especially when you have those coaching clubs, it's like Team A and Team B. It's like gangs, but in an athletic way.
And that's what I really love about the way that the club became structured through Daniel's vision and the process. Was it was neutral. It was the purpose and the mission of the club is to grow the sport in the community. No matter, and really with focused on diversity with that, no matter your age, your size, your weight, your sex, your color, there is no boundaries that we have.
I love it.
We want everyone to learn about the sport and be part of the sport. And that's why we're really, really solid, in our mission, and that we don't try to push certain coaching processes or try to promote certain businesses. We really keep everything on a neutral. We welcome help and support from the community in terms of coaches and those that want to help out and give back and be a part of. But we really want to make sure that our vision lays on a neutral ground so that everybody's welcome and everybody has the ability to engage in a process that's not competitive. I mean, of course, we're all competitive in some way. I mean,
you just want to make sure there's space for everyone.
I mean, I want to be competitive, but I also want to hug when we can get back to hugging.
Yeah, you want to hug after the finish line. One lady said, "Don't hug me now, I'm on the road." So now you're the president. Mm-hmm. And so did you serve on the board before you became a president? Or you just went straight
no,
to
I was an ambassador. I worked, so I was an ambassador with the club for a year and helped out with the New to Triathlon program as one of the volunteer coaches. And
what did you call it? The New to Triathlon program?
Yeah, we call it NTP, but it's New to Triathlon program. And
okay.
So I helped out through that, and coming onto the board, one of the bylaws we have is that for coaching wise, that it's not a mainstay of income for an individual. It's a board requirement. Basically, you cannot be a voting board member if your substantial income is from services provided by the multisport community. Mm-hmm. And so that was something that, and it makes complete sense because it keeps that neutrality of and not favorism.
But you are a coach.
I do coach, but I actually, it's not a mainstay of my income. I volunteer coach.
Okay.
Mostly, and I do some swim stuff on the side, and it's nothing on the level that it used to be years back when I was coaching for real. I work as a program manager for nonprofit now, and that's the mainstay of my income. And
that's good because you sometimes, from an ethical standpoint, you have this gray area. You don't know where to operate.
Yeah. And so we do have a board member who is a coach, but they are a non-voting board member.
I got it. Yeah. And so why did Austin Triathlon Club come up with the NTP, and what is I call it right? New Triathlon. Yeah. What is the NTP about?
So when Daniel and his wife Megan, they moved here from Washington D.C. and the Tri Club they were with before had this amazing program similar to NTP that really brought in new, athletes new to the sport and really tried to give them a starting platform and a place to learn about the sport and their stepping stone into the triathlon community. And so NTP is really based on that in terms of taking individuals and giving them the information and the resources so that they can toe the line at their first race prepared. It can be the real event for them. Like I talk about, like my real event was the first time I prepared. Like no one prepared me for anything prior to that half. It was like there was no information. I didn't know what I was doing training wise at that time.
You were still on dial-up.
So we want to empower those individuals with correct form, how to really structure what they should do going into a training program, some nutrition tips, mental coaching, just so that they're really fully prepared and they're not just shocked. And I say a lot of people doing their first triathlon, what's the first thing you do in a triathlon? You swim. And that is like some of the scariest stuff to jump into an event for the first time and have people hitting you and knocking you and, first experience with the sport. We really want to make sure that they're comfortable and they feel secure and prepared. And so they're not having those panic attacks. They know what to do. If they get a flat tire, they know, how they should be pacing themselves. They know what to do in transition. They know the rules. They know, what drafting is and that they got to dismount at a line and that people aren't just screaming at them, that they're telling them that they have to get off the bike at a certain point, and that they have to wear a helmet anytime they're in contact with their bike. There's little things,
Yes, even outside of transition.
Yeah.
But how long is the program and does it cost anything? How do you become a member?
So to become a member of the Tri Club, it's a $45 annual fee, and then the NCT program was at $99 for the full program, and it ran February through May. We were targeted for the rookie. We currently do not have we have the program on hold based on this little thing called COVID going on that we're still
Don't forget the 19.
leery of putting it's around the corner that we're going to be really good and progressing forward. So I think we're going to be targeting the Kerrville Tri as the race that this program will.
That's in September.
Yeah, it's in September. And the nice thing about Kerrville is it's got those 3 distances. So if someone wants to go beyond, say, the sprint is their first, and they want to do the quarter or the Olympic, we'll be able to get them ready for that. But the board hasn't set a start date yet for that, just because we want to mitigate where we are with vaccines and how we can progress accordingly and properly.
So February, so March, April, May. It's about a 12-week program?
Yes, yeah.
10 to 12-week program?
Yeah. So we'll target starting in summer if we can. If we can't, we will reboot and re-go and go full force for 22. How big
is usually the class? I don't even know what to call them.
45 newbies. Yeah.
Okay,
and we fill up.
You've had 45 as the max. Have you had 45 each year?
Yeah, we filled up. So that we've had it for 2 years in a row. Then last year we had to put it on hold. So we'll be at 45 either for this coming September or when we start again in 22 in the spring. That's spots.
So I live in the Austin area, in the Huddle area, and I am, if I'm not swim, biking, and running, I'm program and project manager too. I'm in my house. Mm-hmm. So sometimes I don't always make it out to Austin for training because I feel like by the time I got there, I could have been like done with my run or done with my ride.
Yeah.
But 2-3 years ago, and this is not, I'm not heading in a race direction, but for simplicity, there was a young Black boy, a young African-American boy, and I think the club new program had just kicked off. So it might have been 3 years ago at the most.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think he was also part of to try to get the club up and going. And I thought that was really cool because a lot of females and a lot of African Americans and Latinos sometimes have a hard time getting in. I thought, oh my God, this was so cool.
Yeah.
And so one of the reasons why I decided to get more active in the sport is you said something very important, like the first minute, sprints are fun. And as we progress in distance, burnout is high. Mm-hmm. It becomes more taxing financially on the body. You can't do as much. And your pool tends to dwindle. So I want to have more sprints and more Ollies locally, even if that means duathlons, just in terms of multisport. And I remember I said, if I ever have a chance to interview whoever's running the new triathlete program, I would really like to know more about that. And so now that what brings up here today, because a lot of people don't know that the program is out there.
Yeah.
And a lot of people also don't even realize that they could get into multisport in Austin without being coached by personality. I'm saying that because it's easy to say that because when you buy a coach, you buy into them. It's not like it's not like you're buying a box of yes, it's like you're buying a box of macaroni. You can either buy no frills or you could buy name brand. That's how they see themselves as a product. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of hard to want to choose that person if you don't know what to look for. Yeah. So when someone does join the Austin Tri Club, do they have to go into the new triathlete program or they could just join?
They can just join. And that's, right now, like since we aren't able to run that program, we do have, we have a Facebook page that's a members only, which is a great little engagement tool to sound questions off and speak to others. So we've had new members join. And they've, gone on there like, hey, I'm new. I just moved here. I live in this part of town. Don't know where to swim. And the next thing you know, they got 8 responses of, I'll swim with you. I swim in this area. Here's a pool. Let's hook up, And so there's a way to meet the other members, especially through that social media outlet. Mm-hmm. We have our newsletter that goes out monthly with information on that. And then we are doing some training events still. And so we try to have something We have Monday night informal runs that Stuart runs. We do Sunday bikes that alternate between north and south end of town. I'm actually hosting one Sunday.
A long one. I saw that. Where you guys are headed?
It actually, the route's set up really well because it's an out and back at any point, and it goes on the bike path for a few miles. It's like 2 roads and that's it, and you don't need to.
That is perfect, because it's really hard when you start to get longer distances to either find a ride or find roads suitable for a ride.
Yeah, that's why I love this ride out south. Goes down the 45 bike path. You turn around at any point once you get on FM 1626. So it's got a huge shoulder. You can come back. You can actually add more back on the bike path coming back. It's a super great route. We are trying. This dang snowstorm that happened shut down a ton of pools in town, including like Barton Springs is closed for cleaning right now. So swimming wise, we were trying to do some informals at Barton, but we'll get that going again. But Craig Kuglin, who's a member of ours, he has a house on the lake that he opens up during the week once it warms up enough. And so we do group swims down there during the week. So we have a lot of stuff that's still taking place, within our COVID world. And once we get past our COVID world, we'll have more going on. But no, you don't. Once you join, the NTP program is in addition to or separate than just our membership.
I got it. So for 2021, you shared that provided COVID and we've reached a point where we can open back things up, you'll open that program and you're going to shoot for Kerrville. Any other things on the horizon for your club for 2021?
We as a board have decided that once things open up, we're having one heck of a party. We don't know what it is or where it is, but we have decided unanimously to have one heck of a club party in some manner. So I don't know what that's going to be. Some of the ideas that got thrown around at that meeting, I'm like, that will be fun and interesting. So
was there inflatables, beer, and cheeseburgers?
There was a lot there, maybe something to do with a boat on the water. I don't know. It may have a discount. It may be a rental. I don't know. There was a lot of talk of something's going to go down.
I will drive down from the suburbs to make it there. Oh man, I want to respect your time and I want to thank you for speaking to us. And do you want to share any last words of how they could find Austin Tri Club or anything special you want them to know?
Our website, austintriclub.org, and feel free to message me or send me a note. And I just want to say that myself included and included with our board, it's been a hard time, for the last year and going through what we've gone through, because, we enjoy a sport that engages and, you see people and we've been trying as hard as we can to keep that engagement still. And I can speak for all of us when I say that we cannot wait to get back in person and we cannot wait to, line up at the start of a line together. But until then, there are members there for you, and we are still supporting each other, and it's a great group. And yeah, just message me if you have any questions. My email's on the website.
For some of you new folks, if you're out there at any of the events, their kit is green. Is it still green?
We have a great new kit. Yeah, it's awesome. Our kit, we redid it last year. It's amazing. Andrea,
you just lit up.
I love our kit, and it's got Lone Star lag infused with the original green. But then we've also inlaid a sublimated background of the entire map of Austin on it.
Okay, well, just look for Austin Kid.
I can say it is so badass that literally I've got like the one piece, and at times we'll look and we're like, oh, we're riding right here. Oh.
Wait a minute now. I'm all about racing pretty, and I think I might need one of those kits.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's one of those things when you see the kit, you don't even realize that it's a map. It's so well done that it's in this like black and gray. It just looks like this like background, but then when you really get up, you're like, oh my God, that's the map. And there's like the capital on it and everything.
And all of this is on the back side or the front side?
The whole side, like the whole kit. So if you put that,
I'm like right here today.
Yeah. Well, on the one piece, I've totally become a one piece. Like I love the one piece.
I am a one piece.
And so the whole one piece has got it all on it. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Wow, this is exciting. I'm going to end the recording now.